MzeroA Nation, do you know what a TFR is and how to know if one has been issued along your planned flight route? What's happening, MzeroA Nation? Jamie and Kat here. Temporary flight restrictions, or TFRs, are an important aspect of aviation that every pilot must understand because violating one could lead to serious consequences.
A temporary flight restriction, or TFR, is a temporary airspace restriction issued for safety and security reasons. They're communicated to pilots through a Notice to Airmen, or NOTAM, and prevent unauthorized aircraft, including drones, from flying in specific areas for a limited time.
Before every flight, you must check in for TFRs. You can find them on the FAA's website, which is tfr.faa.gov, or even find them more conveniently through apps like ForeFlight. You go through a concert, sporting event, somewhere where you get a lot of people going into a confined area. You don't want low-flying aircraft over them, so the FAA is going to issue a TFR, a temporary flight restriction, over theirs. Think the Super Bowl, a NASCAR race, World Series game. We also have VIP movements, so any government officials or the president making a move, those are going to issue a TFR for those areas. TFRs can also be issued for wildfire areas where aerial firefighting is a common practice. We want to keep those low-flying aircraft away from the firefighting operations. Space operations near rocket launches like NASA and SpaceX, where launches are happening in Florida or the lower part of Texas, we want to keep aircraft away from the launch area.
While TFRs are temporary in nature, there are other airspace locations that are restricted to aircraft. Let's quickly go over some types of restricted airspace. Prohibited areas. These are permanently off limits to all aircraft. For example, the airspace over the White House and Camp David. Restricted areas. You might be able to enter these airspace at certain times, but only with a specific ATC clearance due to hazardous operations like artillery firing or missile tests that take place within those areas. Warning areas. These exist over coastal waters and warn pilots of potential dangers, though you can legally enter at your own risk. Military operations areas, also known as MOAs. These separate military training exercises from IFR traffic. VFR pilots can enter, but should use extreme caution when doing so.
ATC lets you know if MOAs are hot or cold. I've seen it before where if you're flying through it, you can still fly through as a VFR pilot. That's one important consideration to know, but you have to know if it's hot or cold. When it's hot, ATC lets you know that means it's active. You can still fly through, but make sure you maintain extreme vigilance flying through it because there may be two military aircraft practicing dogfighting. It's something that you want to avoid a traffic conflict and to continue. So what happens if you accidentally enter a TFR? Consequences range from warnings to fines, or even suspension or revocation of your pilot certificate. If you realize you've entered a TFR, the most important thing to do is immediately exit the TFR and turn away from the restricted airspace as quickly as possible. Contact ATC to let them know what is happening and follow their instructions. If you aren't able to get in contact with them, tune in the emergency frequency 121.5 to make sure that there isn't an intercept aircraft on there trying to get a hold of you. If there is, follow their instruction. Expect a call from the FAA. They will likely follow up, so it's important to remain cooperative and avoid potential penalties.
One thing pilots should be aware of is how TFRs change when a new president takes office. Since these restrictions follow the president's movements, common TFR locations are based on their personal and vacation homes. For example, past TFRs have been frequently covered areas near Mar-a-Lago, Delaware, or even ranches in Texas. Always stay up to date on these changes to avoid any unexpected restrictions.
So MzeroA Nation, that's everything you need to know about TFRs, what they are, where to check for them, and most importantly, what to do if you accidentally enter one. Always check them before you fly, and remember, a good pilot is always learning.